There's a mysterious fog rolling in all over the country.
Like, number one, it's weird because as it gets later in the day, fog should lighten, dissipate.
And some people are trying to tell the truth about the situation and expose the fact of the freaking weather machines.
This is like Last of Us level spores flying around.
Nuclear fallout, that could be it. Could be Boogie 2988's dandruff, something to that effect.
Alex Jones refuses to talk about it. He is bought off by the deep state, and so I, as the one true truth teller, had to finally bring to light the fog allegations.
So first of all, there's apparently a little bit of a YouTube mystery going on. Ooh, it's scary. It's just scary. Creepypasta, ARG, Slender Man. All right, we got something going. Jeff the Killer, you guys all know him. It's like the Walton Files mixed with Skibbity Toilet, mixed with Papa Gut, mixed with George Floyd. There's some kind of fog thing going on. Everybody's asking about. What is this? Investigating the mysterious fog conspiracy. Ooh. New video from Some Ordinary Gamers. We're gonna check it out. Who knows? It could be anything. Could be anything. All right. We got some strange happenings. Courage the Cowardly Dog. Strange things happen nowhere.
Hello, guys and gals.
Hello.
Me, Mutahar, and today I want to talk about something that I've been seeing the last few days roll all throughout social media. Now, you probably have noticed that there have been wild posts on the internet, massive discussions about this mystery fog that have been showing up all over the world, ladies and gentlemen. Now, of course, you've got situations where places in India, for instance, Delhi, actually have so much fog that
Is it the first time they've ever seen fog before? I don't understand. India Today, weather news, cold wave sweeps India. Okay. It's fog. It's literally fog. This comment. I've been experiencing... Stupid dog, you make me look bad. This guy says, I've been experiencing a strange smelling fog coming from my house. It emits every 3 to 4 hours from my roommate's door crack and leaves me feeling hungry, tired, and genuinely enjoying Night Ranger. So the worst part about this is that this guy's probably talking about like weed or something, but I instantly read this as like his ass crack. Instead, my mind just mentally skipped the word door. I went right to ass crack, basically. That's where my mind went.
it's caused visibility to effectively drop to something less than Silent Hill 1 on the PlayStation, okay? So you literally can't even see an inch in front of you, apparently. That's how bad things have gotten. In fact, fog has been showing up in numerous parts of the world. For instance, even near London, where apparently it's been disrupting airports as of...
I don't understand. Has no one ever seen fog? You see fog for the first time, it turns into an ARG. I'm gonna look up fog news. The mysterious fog. Ooh. A thick blanket of fog is engulfed Delhi and adjoining areas in northern India, leading to travel delays and chaos. All right, I'm gonna try my best not to go into that. We're trying to actually cover the news here, all right? I'm Philip DeFranco. More than 100 flights were delayed at the Philip DeFranco Airport on Friday morning, according to PTI News Agency. Dozens of trains have also been rescheduled or are running late. India's weather department has said that foggy conditions are likely to continue for the next few days. Dense fog is common at this time of year in Delhi and other parts of northern India, as the region grapples with an intense cold wave. Okay, so it's just normal fog. It's just fog. BBC one time published a crazy article that was like, how come there's so much on the streets in India? Which seems racist, but they were actually investigating. And that is a remarkable thing to investigate. They needed to be investigated.
The 1st of January. And of course, if you go to like plenty of these sites, it'll say it's a DARPA conspiracy theory surrounding this abnormal fog enveloping the globe intensifying. So wild headlines indeed. Now, when it comes to fog, I'm actually quite an expert on it. I actually live on top of a mountain, and in my...
I'm an expert in fog. He's a fog expert, dude. He's a fog deployer. He's a fog originator. He's a fog enjoyer. He sucks it all in, dude. Mudahar's sucking in the fog.
Mountain town, ladies and gentlemen, when, you have 3 days out of the week at least, there's going to be some fog. And fog is when, of course, if you've ever experienced it, it's a beautiful time where visibility is low, especially in the late at night. It's almost calming to an effect. You know, if you played a game like Silent Hill, you probably have seen fog. If you played Persona 4, you probably know that fog is really scary. And usually somebody could die that comes out of it. Now, not in this case. That's a video game, all right, with a serial...
Dude, I was watching a critical video recently. It was about some kind of like Twitch stalker who had lit some e-girl's Maserati on fire, right? Pretty crazy story. But I you not the video every 10 seconds was like a pop culture reference. Every 10 seconds was like, this is just like SpongeBob. This is just like Iron Man. This is just like the Marvel movie. It was blowing my mind. And like, I like media references. I watch a lot of media. And I didn't even necessarily have a problem with it, but I was just so shocked that every 10 seconds, Moist Critical had like a new media reference. He had a new media every 10 seconds. It was a new, it was just like SpongeBob. This is like Batman. This is like Zins. This is like Crusader Aid Gamer Subs. Use code Tom to get 10% off. This is like Mudahar. This is like Feastables. This is like Adolf Hitler. Bruh. It was crazy.
Killer in it. But in reality land, fog is just a natural weather phenomenon. So if you're wondering how scary can the fog be, no, there's nobody that's going to jump out of it. Siren Head isn't going to show up and like chase you through the fog, okay? It's just a part of the weather that affects you. But of course, the more and more people have been kind of having this happen to them, the more and more there have been actual posts about this. For instance, one of them on r/high strangeness, as of 3 days ago, the fog has been persistent for 4 days and nights. Many people I know have gotten a strange sickness they can't really describe in the last few days. Wear a mask if you encounter it.
Ooh, wear a mask. Ooh. So this is some kind of ARG going on. This is some kind of scary type thing, some kind of like spooky Sonic Fox, Silent Hill type thing. I mean, I guess it's just pollution, right? That's my prediction here. My prediction is that this is pollution. Has anyone in chat experienced an insane level of fog? Has anyone in chat experienced some crazy level of fog recently? More than at other times? Because there's a Burger King there, and they're driving on the right side of the road, which I assume means this is in the United States, this photo, or Canada. A lot of you have experienced fog? You're all in fog land. I have not seen any persistent fog. So, all you in India watching me right now, what up, blood? Shoot me some of that Vindaloo, bro. All right? All you are in extreme fog. Hold on. Give me like 1 minute. Hassan stream. Sorry, Chad. I did something disgusting and got myself. I ordered Starbucks to my house like a fat sleep apnea machine, respirating fat ass boogie 2988 core EDP type thing. It is what it is. It is what it is. But we're back. We're back. Don't start fogging. Some of you in chat are already fogging. Don't start fogging. All right? Do not start fogging. I'm watching you. If you fog, I'll with you. Just get a Red Bull. I got a sandwich. I'm drinking Gamer Subs. All right? I got a Gamer Subs here, but I did get a sandwich. Okay? I had to do what I had to do. Don't fog. Don't fog. Whatever you do, never fog in your family's presence.
Now, this is that part of the year where I'm actually extra careful because I am pretty susceptible to things like the flu. Like, if I get the flu, I am actually in bed for a couple days. It affects me pretty terribly. And even though I get flu shots, sometimes you still end up getting the flu, which sucks no matter what. But of course, this was a pretty serious thing. It started to be
I feel like I'm lucky. I haven't gotten seriously sick in a few years, I don't think. The worst thing I've had recently has been like just like a nose thing. I usually once a year I'll get like some kind of crazy congested sinus type thing. But it's extremely rare. It's extremely rare that I will actually get like seriously like throwing up sick. I don't think I've gotten throwing up sick since I was like that I remember like 13 years old. That was the last time I got some crazy stomach thing. I was in Bulgaria with my family. This is not a joke. I was in Bulgaria with my family for Christmas, and like the day after Christmas, I came down with some kind of stomach sickness, and I was just throwing up constantly. And my dad had gotten me for Christmas, he had gotten me Gotham Season 1 on DVD. So I was just watching Gotham on the TV, throwing up all day, but I got through the season in like a day and a half or something. So after that, I was just watching like subtitled Bulgarian cartoons, not understanding what was going on, throwing up in a bowl all day. And my grandmother was taking care of me. And I was like, I was so sick and I was so upset. And I was such a baby, which I still am when I'm sick. I was like, can I have a hug? I feel bad. And she was like, oh, Thomas, I want to get... How do I do a Bulgarian accent?
Thomas, I will give you a hug. Yes, I will give you a hug, Thomas. No problem, no problem. Here, boy, let me give you a hug.
So she hugged me. And then she also got sick. She also got very sick. And she was throwing up, and that was awesome. Almost killed her, but that's all right. That's all right. It's fine.
Shared around here. And of course, even beyond all of it, there were people sharing on Facebook science groups which again,
Have you ended up in the ER because of sickness? I don't think I've ever been to the emergency room in my life.
this was a whole bunch of wild nonsense. I'm sick from the fog. It started yesterday. Asthma, migraine, sore throat, burning eyes. People are reporting this all over America. Now, aside from fringe Facebook groups, I haven't seen any medical reports of any of this. But they mentioned a location, Southeast Florida. Right now, I was running out errands yesterday and had to come home. I have a really serious headache, asthma, burning eyes, and terrible fatigue.
So I assume that if this is pollution, basically what happens is, first of all, you get companies with like, the factory, the big smokestack that disperses the into the air, right? I was living in a city once that the fucking air quality thing on the iPhone, you know how normally you're living in like a city and the air quality will tell you that it's good? The air quality in the city was like, it was said like moderate. It was like bad. There was like aluminum in the air everywhere. And so there's that. But then there's also, you imagine sort of a Gotham City type thing. I'm becoming moist critical. Basically in like Gotham City, when you have just like the mega dookie factory that like pumps out all the green sludge that the Joker fell into. Well, as it turns out, a lot of companies have been pumping that dookie sauce into the ocean, and then all of a sudden, wouldn't you know it, nature takes course, sucks that stuff up right in the clouds like a big-ass blowjob, and before you know it, you have some disgusting fog coming over the mountains of Canada. Will you bulge your area? Definitely not. The air quality in my city's rated poor. Am I cooked? You'll probably be fine for like 20 years until cancer hits you all of a sudden.
I noticed when I got home yesterday, our house had a slight burning smell. So people have been reporting like apparently burning chemical smells out of all of this. Now, of course, I live in Canada. I don't live in Southeast Florida, so I wouldn't know the same smell. But yeah, this is before I even knew about the fog. So unfortunately, I opened the door to let the air in.
Why would it be happening all at once is my question. Why would there suddenly be a big phenomenon of this? Wouldn't this have been like a very slow kind of progression thing? Have we just finally reached a point in which we've kind of like hit the straw that breaks the camel's back of pollution? And now we're starting to live in a dystopia. I feel like I've seen probably a few science fiction movies or something to that effect where there's some disgusting fog permeating the entire atmosphere. What's your Zen of choice? Mine is citrus, 6 milligram. Cool mint, 6 milligram. That's mine.
It seems to be worse at night, and I can attest to that here. Thousands of social media users this week have taken to posting clips of this bizarre, unprecedented fog. It's being called FogVid24. No one is calling it FogVid24. Outside of like 3 places, I have not. The people are trying to make this
FogVid24. I feel like that's trying a little bit too hard. I feel like that's trying just a little bit too hard to make this like a thing. FogVid24. Foggate. We're calling it Foggate. This is just like that one Super Smash Brothers controversy. It's like if YouTube Drama 2016 mixed with YouTube Drama 2024 was the environment. Foggate 2025, guys. We're back. Foggate. Fogtua. Yeah. Fogtua.
this thing in actual reality, when in reality it is not, okay? Nobody is calling that, okay? Aside from like 3 or 4 viral posts, it is not called FogVid24. No one has acknowledged it as that, so I just want to stamp this out right here. People are getting really sick from it, myself included. I think people with lung issues are especially vulnerable. People are speculating that it's some kind of chloride. Update. Nearly a third of the U.S. population, spanning 27 states, is experiencing an unprecedented wave of dense fog.
Where is Alex Jones when you need him? Yeah, true. I'm sure Alex Jones would have a lot of theories about chemtrails and stuff of that variety. What happens if I look up Alex Jones fog? Alex Jones talks about fog. Doesn't he have a Twitter account? He does. Has he tweeted about it? He has not. Wait. All right, so I'm currently on his I'm on Alex Jones's Twitter account here. I'm not seeing any posts about the fog. I'm seeing stuff like this.
Biomedical system is being used by the globalists, as they admit it is, to try to bring in total control over society and depopulate and take control of our bodies. Why, if it's been exposed, are they still running their operation? Because they built their whole globalist architecture at the UN and the WHO and these corporations to take control.
Did he lose weight? He looks skinny. Did Alex Jones lose weight? Fog isn't part of his grift. No, I think the more accurate thing is probably that he's been compromised to not talk about Foggate, to not talk about FogVid 2025. Okay. Well, what's going on? Top German reporter Naomi Sebt.
I want to thank everyone out there who has been supporting Germany throughout all of this. Because at first, when I started doing the international activism,
Is she talking about the fog? Hey, start talking about the fog, Naomi. Okay, it's your moral obligation. This report needs maximum push if we want to stop what the globalist death cult is planning. Share, share, share. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything about the fog on Alex Jones's Twitter account, which is kind of concerning. Once again, I feel like he's kind of compromised here. So this feels like mass hysteria. Hey, bro, as soon as Trump gets in office, this whole fog problem is going to go away. I'll tell you that much. I'll tell you that much.
The thickest in nearly 2 decades. So,
the thickest fog in 2 decades? Whoa. Make that fog throw it back like Ice Spice.
ladies and gentlemen, it's gotten apparently so bad that people are talking about this, even, of course, as of yesterday, in San Diego, all the way in California. So from coast to coast, it is apparently causing a serious fog advisory. So in California, apparently images like this have rolled into San Diego. It almost looks like, again, Silent Hill. And when it comes to the...
I mean, I guess the fog does look particularly thick, okay? I'll admit it. You know, at first I was kind of a fog doubter, a fog skepticist, but I will admit this image of San Diego does look as if there is a rather thick fog permeating the area. Now, we're going to have to look at the evidence.
Into San Diego. It almost looks like, again, Silent Hill. And when it comes to the National Weather Service, even they've pretty much said dense fog advisory in effect until 10 a.m. Friday, Pacific Standard Time. And the visibility is 1/4 mile or less in dense fog. And of course, where is it? Orange County coastal areas and San Diego County coastal areas. So yeah, it is genuinely a little bit wild that it's happening all over the world. In fact, even in Canada, as of the last couple days where I live in the mountains, it's also been a similar situation. We've had days where fog has basically taken over. But as somebody that has kind of lived in fog for a while now, it's not something that is super duper shocking to me.
I mean, realistically, it's not like you're going to have a global weather event, right? Where the entire Earth is affected by the same... I just noticed he has a gun in his table there, randomly. You're not going to have a global weather event where every single place on Earth is affected by the same exact thing at the same time. So the majority of this is probably, if I had to guess, random fog that just happened to happen at the same time, and then one instance of it maybe is like some kind of serious pollution thing or something that's like actually unusual, right? I don't think this is like some global fog hegemony, apart from the fact that I was watching a little bit of Flat Earth YouTube the other day, and I was finding out a lot about how the government controls the weather, basically. I don't know if you guys know that, but there's a lot of conspiracy between like the Lego company, Moist Critical, Asmongold, Mudahar. They're kind of collaborating. So Mudahar's probably kind of trying to hide that, and fair enough. He's going to do that. There's a difference between fog and smog, no? That's true. It could be kind of a fog gate, could be kind of a smog gate. It's hard to say.
But even on places like paranormal, am I the only one who notices that it's getting weirdly foggy? Now, there have been people who respond to these posts, and thankfully, you've got individuals having healthy discussion. One user says, it's winter in the northern hemisphere and fog happens. It's not paranormal. In the next few years, decades, you're going to see a lot of weather changes. So just because you haven't had fog in a couple of years doesn't mean it's paranormal that you're getting it now. But if people go out in it and don't come back, don't go out in it. I agree. If you start to get missing and you start to hear siren head, you start to see in the fog.
Do people normally go out in the fog anyway? Is anybody going out? If it's a foggy day, are you like going for a stroll in the fog normally? Is that a thing? If it's a foggy day, usually it's foggy in the morning. You just don't go out for a little bit. Like, you just don't go out. If you got to drive somewhere, you turn on the high beams. You guys are all going out in the fog? You guys are all going to die, dude. Something horrible is going to happen. There is going to be some kind of paranormal fog event where Cthulhu's going to emerge out of it in the ocean. You guys are all going to die. I'm going to be in my house streaming. The few of us that are wise and don't go out in the fog are going to be fine. Some people have jobs that early. Oh, so some of you have jobs where you need to go to work to make money, to feed your family. All right, big guy. Get off your high horse. Okay? You're a liar. You don't have a job. All of you are lying. We're all streamers here. The government pays us to stream to our audiences, okay? We all know how it is.
You merely adopted the fog. I was molded by it. Molded by it.
You don't have $5? The Mist movie ending? That movie is really bad.
Their radios are going off? Yeah, maybe there's something deeper to it. But for now, that hasn't been confirmed. Why is the whole world foggy all at once? Okay, maybe not the whole world, but a quick search of the word fog filter today shows people from SoCal to New England, Mid-Atlantic,
High beams is the opposite of what you use. How else are you supposed to blind other drivers?
Midwest, UK, and other parts of Europe all talking about dense fog. So again, one individual comes by over here and says, you just listed a lot of places that are regularly foggy. Not crazy, it overlaps. But one guy's like, it's kind of irregularly foggy. I think there's a warm front all over a lot of North America causing this weather. We've had dense fog, thunderstorms, and some tornadoes near me in the southeast and my family back up in the northeast. Also had an unseasonably warm 60-degree day with fogs and thunderstorms at the same time. That's a bit unusual on both accounts, not so much the temp here, but we've had a pretty dry couple of years, so to get heavy rain all at once was a bit out of the ordinary. This guy provided a pretty meteorological answer, but of course, the further you go down into it, ladies and gentlemen, the more and more you find actual videos turning this into a conspiracy. So a few people on 4chan over here said, black pill me on the fog. The fog is said to be
What board is this? Is this X? It's X a green or blue board? I don't remember. It's a blue board. It could be paranormal. Probably would be if I had to guess. Let me check the catalog. Control F for fog. We found one fog post. Oh, it says infographics. Is there any actual fog posting? Looks like there's not even a single post from what I can tell about the fog on paranormal right now. So I don't know what board this is from, but this was last night, so the catalog could have been updated since then.
a manifestation of primordial chaos, a ghostly shroud born from the dreams of an eldritch entity slumbering in dimensions beyond comprehension. I too love 4chan sometimes, man. It's probably one of the best places to go to when you just want to have a goddamn laugh or doom pill yourself. So here's one guy.
I feel like 4chan is pretty boring. I feel like I hear a lot of people say this. I'm not trying to shit on Mudahar here, but the majority of 4chan is like extremely boring. Like it's just like any other site. The majority of posts are just boring as shit. But that's just like every website. Like the majority of posts are really not that crazy, you know. There's this perception, I think, that 4chan is like this crazy, insane site. They're like, oh, so many crazy things happen. 4chan. And like I get it, you know. It is a site where some out of the ordinary things have happened compared to some other websites just because there's an anonymous user base, so people are less held back by societal standards. But the majority of the stuff on 4chan is like pretty, you know, not anything crazy going on. Tom, please promise to live stream the apocalypse if it happens. If the apocalypse happens, I will abandon my family. I will hunker down in this basement with my AK, and I will be streaming. I will always be streaming. Let it be known.
Fog is coming. The fog is near. Is it just a coincidence that this dense fog was predicted to roll right after a mysterious sighting of drones and orbs? Certainly seems more than chance with everything that's been happening. I love this. The fog is coming. The fog is near. It's gonna with my head later when I sleep. God damn. Expect massive deaths. Stock upon toilet paper. The big one is coming. Oh, this seems the more likely answer.
Yo. Yeah, every Zoomer collectively vaped at the same time. Every anorexic dumbass hoe vaped. They all exhaled their jewel at the same exact time. And we just clogged up the world with fog. It'll be gone soon, all right? It'll be gone soon. But right now, it's here. Right now, it's here. Sorry, that was kind of rude of me to say, but it was true. My bad, though. My bad. My bad. My bad.
Reddit mod is vaping us. It is Silent Hill, dude. It is Silent Hill. In my restless dreams, I see that vapor. Now,
they all farted at the same time? Yeah, Boogie, Wings of Redemption, and EDP all farted at the same time. They've all been farting independently in the past, but they all farted at the same time this time around. And that's the world we live in now.
All of it, I think where this really started to get popularized and where I actually initially saw it was actually all over TikTok, for crying out loud. So, for instance, right over here, this was just one of many videos.
Well, I don't want to get all conspiracy minded, but people have been talking about weird fog coming in, and it is 4:35 a.m. Central Time here in New Orleans, and I saw this out the window and I thought something was on fire. And I've seen a lot of, believe me, if someone can correct me, it's fine. I've seen a lot of fog in my days, but nothing that really moves that fast before.
Dude, I'm going to be honest. I feel like this is so stupid. I don't want to be like cringe debunker right off the bat. I like conspiracies. I think they're fun. But to be honest with you, I think this is just fog, dude. I think this is literally just normal ass fog. I think this is just fog. It's 4:30 a.m. There's fog. It's kind of moving fast. I've never seen fog like this. I'm not a meteorologist, but I've never quite seen fog quite like this, dude. I think something crazy is going on. The clouds are moving fast in the sky. I've never seen a cloud move like that. There's a lot of fog, dude. It's just fog. It's just a little fog in the morning, bro. You can literally see the other building. It's just clouds moving in this video.
I don't know. Everybody's been so sick.
Now, it's interesting when people...
Everybody's been so sick. You know what? Maybe we are on the ground floor of some kind of fog conspiracy here, and in 3 months I'm going to be shooting myself in the foot for denying this. But, I mean, so far I'm not very convinced that there's anything weird going on. Thank you, Ash, for becoming a member. Bro up at 4:30 freaking out about fog. It's just clouds in his case. It's literally just clouds, dude.
People are mentioning things like people are getting sick. Now, like I said, it kind of feels like maybe this is flu season correlating with this phenomenon that's occurring. And like I said, when it came to the drone story and it came to a lot of these things, I do feel like there is obviously a level of mass hysteria. And it's one of these situations where, again, we live in an era where things can be tested in real time. With so much social media and so many people that have access to actual laboratories and actual, professionals out in the world, what I am wondering is why isn't anybody collecting this fog and actually, analyzing?
Probably because nobody important has noticed it because it doesn't matter and it's not remarkable. I mean, look, I do like a good online conspiracy now and then. It's fun. I'm sure there could be some example in the future where there's some serious fog and it's some kind of pollution thing. But, I mean, in this case, it's like a few people saw fog outside and they're like, oh, my God, what the is going on, guys? They just got bored, all right? The Mr. Beast drama died down and TikTok needed something to talk about, basically. And so they started posting about how there's a mysterious fog going on because it's fun. Everybody has main character syndrome. Everybody wants to live in some kind of crazy reality where there's something insane happening, okay? Everybody wants a Silent Hill arc because we live very comfortable, nice lives where nothing crazy is really going on. The majority of people live in a world where everything's pretty much, taken care of. The world is pretty good at this point. Not that there aren't problems, but, people want something. People want something to discuss. They want some kind of crazy story arc. So they get bored for a couple of days, and then all of a sudden one guy posts on TikTok about fog at 4:30 a.m. Before you know it, there's 100,000 people on TikTok talking about, oh my God, the fog. Yes, rest in peace, Joe Rogan. May we always remember his experience.
Analyzing it right now in a laboratory through actual methodologies that we have right now. If there is seriously something scary in this fog, that it should be absolutely, isolated and figured out. I feel like it's fun to kind of engage with this because, like I said, I'm not here to make fun of the people who are actually, talking about this. Well,
I am.
Don't agree with this theory whatsoever. I do think that there is a lot of government distrust that has caused people to actually go down this rabbit hole. And it's something I'll be discussing just later towards the tail end of this video. For a lot of these individuals out there, they've come across something that they genuinely feel is real. But for me, I haven't seen any evidence of this being sinister. And it really just seems like it's actual weather. Because again, if you're really going down the idea of the government controlling the weather, remember, the weather is a very, very, very complex phenomenon. And again, when you want to create things like tornadoes or massive, fog clouds like this, it requires some pretty large apparatus.
What would the government's purpose be for the fog? In the mind of the conspiracy guy, what would the government's purpose be for the fog? What are they trying to hide? What are they trying to hide within the fog that we should be afraid of or aware of or we need to get clued into? Like, what specific thing is going on that the government's trying to do right now that they're hiding in the fog? Or if they're not hiding something, what else is the motivation? It's like that saying, head in the clouds, more like head in the fog of conspiracy. What is it with this conspiracy arc? I mean, conspiracy stuff is really funny. The thing about conspiracies is even if they're not true and dumb, they're still always fun to talk about because, on one hand, for the people who talk about them and believe in them, I mean, some conspiracies are true, but, for a dumb one, for the people who talk about them and believe in them, it's like a fun rush. They get to feel like they're a part of some kind of crazy story and, there's something crazier going on. They get to connect dots that aren't really connectable. And then for me, I get to watch it and laugh at it. So I appreciate the conspiracy guys for creating content for me. I do appreciate that. The government's using fog to hide the growing Bigfoot population. That's very possible. That's a very good point. What else could they be hiding, guys? What is Trump going to do about the fog? He's going to dispatch Border Patrol to take care of it. Okay? Let it be known. He patriotically will dispatch Border Patrol to deal with it. And he's establishing. We've got Doge now. We've got border security being ramped up. We're disbanding the FDA. We're disbanding the Department of Education, and we're creating the Department of the Fog Response Team. We're going to deport all the fog. It's all about control, man. Yeah, literally, dude. Literally.
Things that can't easily be hidden.
Like, number one, it's weird because as it gets later in the day, fog should lighten, dissipate. And
it's just overcast, bro. It's just overcast. The sun isn't out right now. Do you think that they're controlling the sun? Yes, if the sun is shining through the clouds very well, there will be less fog. But it's an overcast day, so there's lots of clouds blocking the sun's rays. What? Just look up.
not. But the weirdest part is the taste and smell. It smells like after you set off a bunch of fireworks. And like the taste of the air is, I mean, the only word I can think of is toxic.
It almost feels like he's smelling some gunpowder or something, like firework residue going off. Now, if you've been in foggy areas, I kind of disagree. Sometimes it can get real foggy until way later in the day, okay? It is different, okay? Weather is a...
That could honestly be pollution. Yeah, that's true. I mean, it could be if there's a weird taste in the air. But I guess to me, I don't always just trust random people. I'm not accusing that guy of lying, but I just have no faith in the average TikTok user to tell the truth. I will say, if there's fog outside and you taste something weird in the air, go back inside. You're about to get cancer. You're about to get some kind of crazy esophageal cancer that will ruin your life forever. You will not make it to 32. So just do not inhale the weird burn-smelling fog.
Wild phenomenon. Now, at some point, I started to see a clip that didn't really make a lot of sense. So, for instance, this one clip from Florida was genuinely something that I had to really research and look into. So, this is Florida, and from what I understand, Florida is a genuinely warm part of the country, obviously being so close to the equator, the southern U.S. This is like Last of Us level spores flying around. And I really had to wonder what this actually could have been. And it wasn't just this one clip. There were other people sharing like ring footage where like they actually had the date in the corner as of the 29th of 2024, like the last few days. And you saw a whole bunch of particles floating around in the air. And these people claimed that the weather was in the 40s Fahrenheit, and of course it wasn't snowing or raining, or at least not really snowing or raining. And again, when it came to this mist itself, people asked,
I can't tell. I mean, it kind of looks like snow, but not really. It's the flood. Yeah, it's the flood from Halo. Maybe it's dust. I mean, it'd have to be a lot of dust. Those videos do look odd, but the thing is, I just don't know if there's some easy explanation for it.
The same questions I'm asking. Why doesn't a biologist or scientist just grab and examine that fog under a microscope? Yeah, actually, that's a pretty good question. Why doesn't somebody grab this and examine?
Looks like ash or something. Yeah, that's true, but it'd have to be a lot of ash, in fairness. I mean, I guess it could be like wildfire ash. Nuclear fallout, that could be it. Could be Boogie 2988's dandruff, something to that effect. One of the most foreboding and scary scenes in any TV show is, have you guys seen Chernobyl on HBO? When the little particles, the little flecks are falling from the sky after the reactor melts down? And all these like random people are touching it. They're like, oh, it's pretty. It's like snow. And they don't realize like they're literally all about to get cancer. That's a super haunting scene. If you haven't seen Chernobyl on HBO, watch that. HBO has a lot of great shows. Kind of a side tangent here. HBO has a lot of great original shows. I just finally got around to the other day. I like watched it basically all in a row. I like watched the first season of True Detective. Great show. I've heard the season 2 is not that great, but season 1 is excellent. Another one, The Night Of, is another great HBO miniseries. Sharp Objects, one of my favorites, great HBO miniseries. I'm trying to think if there's anything else that's really great. There's probably others. I've been watching Generation Kill. It's starting off kind of slow, but that is a pretty good one so far.
This under a microscope or a spectrograph or anything. And of course, classic internet, they tried but missed. Credit where credit due. It's a mystery.
Dude, Reddit is hilarious.
Oh man, dude, the internet's goofy with this shit, bro. Even 2 days ago, with one person asking in Florida, what's with all the mist? And one person says, it's the one guy girl's humidifier. Yeah, Florida man's girlfriend's humidifier is going off. One person says it's advection fog, which is when warm, moist sea air blows over cool land. The land cools the air, the colder air can no longer hold the moisture.
But what about the videos of particles flying at the camera? I mean, those videos, in fairness, could be from anywhere at any point in time. You'd have to like reverse image search them basically. So I don't know exactly what's up with those weird little videos, but it could probably be literally anything other than some kind of crazy thing.
Sure, it becomes foggy. Literally a ground cloud. To which when I looked up the advection fog, this is actually a pretty real thing. And this is apparently an image of it, which makes sense if that's what we're looking at. Just these particles floating around in the air.
I feel like I've seen this a million times. I mean, I don't see like distinct particles here. This just looks like mist in the morning. It's just mist that you see in the morning. Like I grew up in like a marshy town, and there would be mist often in the morning, fog in the morning, because there's like, it's an estuary. There's also water around, so you would just see it all the time.
If that's
Average harbor morning in New England.
You know, just these particles floating around in the air. And again, the actual temperature does make a lot of sense, because even when it was unseasonably foggy a few days ago, one thing that obviously I did was look up the actual weather a couple days ago. And to show you the evidence of it, literally as of like the 26th, it was like 0 degrees Celsius, which is freezing, right? Now, it was actually weird because on the Saturday and Sunday, like this weekend, it was actually warm. Like it got up to 13. Last week, I would sit in my car and it would just say 0 degrees Celsius, right? Because it's winter. But yeah, this weekend we actually had, 11 degrees. And I actually had this not as anecdotal evidence, but stuff I've seen with my own eyes. I've seen this fog and I've seen this thing happen. It's literally just the weather being the weather. So again, when it came to all of this, the conspiracies started ramping up. So for instance, right over here, one person says, you guys heard about the fog hitting many states and countries in the West? There's a patent for that too. And so they got this patent from fucking Google Gemini AI, US 1338343A. So like somebody that does my own research, I decided to look at this patent right here. And this is the process and apparatus for the production of intense artificial clouds, fogs, or mist. So this is what apparently this apparatus looks like, these two tanks on top of this like one basin, if you will. And this was made by Paul Weiss.
If there was some grand conspiracy to control the weather with a fog machine, why would they be so stupid as to file a patent for it that anyone can publicly access and Google? Do these people not think for 10 seconds? If there's some conspiracy to control the weather, why would the government file a public patent for it and not try to hide that? Why?
And Jules Verdier. And this was founded in 1916, okay? So a over 100-year
Treaty of Versailles was true, dude.
Year-old patent was brought up in this situation. So the present invention renders it possible to produce very opaque artificial mists by affecting the atomization of anhydrous chlorides, such as titanium chloride or stannic chloride or analogous bodies in a moist ammoniacal atmosphere. Again, I can't begin to explain this, but this is a pretty old patent that's actually had a lot of similar patents associated to it. Now, if I look closer into this, it almost seems like it's kind of the first patent in a line of patents that would eventually lead people into something known as the fog machine. There's actually other patents like apparatus for producing fog. So you look very carefully at it, it's an actual, figure for showing.
Isn't this literally the same exact thing that you would use in like a haunted house? I assume this is the same exact technology utilized in like haunted houses around the world to make them spooky, to make your driveway spooky on Halloween. Do people think that the government just made a really, really big one and just like emitting it from Mount Rushmore, coming out of George Washington's mouth is just a giant plume of fog that's covering the entire world? That looks like a bong. Thank you very much for your riveting commentary. Eviction noticed. I'm glad that's on your mind. Call Mudahar up and ask him what part of India his family is from. You can judge them on this. Muda covered a meme game my friends made 10 years ago. Did he really? That's kind of cool. Good for him. Or you, rather. The thing that I watched Mudahar for way back in the day that got me into his channel was deep web browsing. Those were really good videos way back in the day. I enjoyed those quite a bit. This is back when I was like, I must have been like 12 years old watching deep web browsing way back in the day. But that was the stuff I watched.
Showing you how to produce.
And then it was kind of weird to see that he kind of, because I remember I watched him for quite a while, and then his channel, I don't want to say it died, but it wasn't nearly as active for a few years. And then from like 2018 to like 2021, he really blew up his channel a lot when he started talking about YouTube drama. And that's when his channel got a lot bigger. But I did like deep web browsing back in the day. Some of them were good, but a lot of it was boring in my opinion. You mean deep web browsing? I mean, I'm sure some of them were kind of boring, but the thing is, I didn't really care. I just liked, like, the appeal of it almost was that it was boring in some context. It was like, just hearing a guy explain some deep websites, going through it, it was kind of like a cool thing for me to see. At the time, I didn't really know how to install Tor, so I didn't really get it. I couldn't just browse the deep web myself, and also I didn't want to stumble across something weird. So I would just watch deep web browsing. And it was a fun series. And the appeal to it was like a lot of it was kind of like boring and mundane stuff. But once in a while, he'd come across like a drug selling website. Tom, I'm actually at work. Please end stream at wait. I'll get right on that. Gamma in chat says, dude, I was like 10 and he was doing creepypastas and haunted gaming. He got mentioned on Drama Alert once, I recall, and then he sort of went mainstream and entered the commentary sphere. I don't remember when he was mentioned on Drama Alert, to be honest, but when was that game? Was that like 2016, 2017, or was that like later than that? Why did he have H3 beef? Back in the day, he had a beef with H3. I think it was regarding the FUPA thing. I think Muda made some claims about FUPA that were untrue. And then Ethan like responded to him, and then Muda, I think, apologized or something to that effect. But I can't remember. That was like way back in the day. That was like 6 years ago now, probably. I think I was in high school when that happened.
The same bot group right over here where it was referenced to. Now, this is also another patent that was applied in 1925. And if you look very carefully at this, if you've ever been to a metal show, a metal concert, you've probably seen this machine very clearly. It's a fog machine, ladies and gentlemen. And you can pick up a fog machine for like, I don't know, 50, 100 bucks at times, depending on where you go. Yeah, it's a fog machine, all right? Simple as that. So
yeah, they're hiding it in plain sight, dumbass. They are hiding it in plain sight. They created it and released it to the public so people wouldn't be so suspicious about the fact the government has a really big one in the Arctic Circle. Also, the world is flat.
Yes, you can in fact create mist and fog. We have machines for this situation right here. Now, people who dig up patents that genuinely come out like this and, you know, dig them up from like 100 years ago as some sort of like gotcha or maybe like a government conspiracy, failed to realize that you can actually find a patent for pretty much anything. For instance, here's a patent for perfusing an animal's head. So I'm not joking with you. This is actually a real thing. That is a human head connected to an apparatus that is supposedly keeping it alive. The invention involves a device referred to herein as a...
But just because it's a patent doesn't mean it works, right? I think that's the thing a lot of people miss. Just because there's a patent for something doesn't mean that it's actually effective. I don't think that this technology will probably work that well, if I had to guess. I think you would have to hook it up. If you could do this, somehow, you would have to hook up the human head to the machine within like 1 second of it being chopped off with a guillotine or something. I don't think this would work very well. I guess all the valves are just to like pump blood, basically, is the deal, I assume. Although I will say, whenever we do get this technology in the future, because it will happen, that will be awesome. And then you can get like guys getting decapitated and then just put on like a little like podium like in Futurama. That'd be awesome. Tom, do you think the UFO stuff is being pushed? What do you mean by that, Scrimpin?
Cabinet, which provides physical and biochemical support for an animal's head, which has been discorporated, i.e. severed from its body. The device can be used to supply a discorped head with oxygenated blood and nutrients by means of tubes connected to arteries which pass through the neck. After circulating through the head, the deoxygenated blood returns to the cabinets by means of cannulae. So why am I bringing this up? Well, it's because this patent was filed back in 1985. Now, why would Chet Fleming, a lawyer at the time, file this? Well, because he wanted to make sure that nobody was going to do this, so he filed a prophetic patent. So no other sick individual in the United States could even attempt to do this for the lifetime of the patent. Now, from what I've heard, even though this patent has effectively been expired...
I mean, you can make a patent for something that does the same thing if it's different technology, right? I think that's like if it's a different method, I think that's my understanding. But also, I believe like someone in chat pointed out, a lot of people will like create patents or they'll try to like, I think you can buy patents from other people. They'll do that to basically sit on the technology in case it becomes valuable or like worthy in a few years so that they can then sell it and make money off of it, right? So people will just like scrounge up a bunch of patents in the same way people used to buy up a bunch of web domains.
It is not being performed, at least from my knowledge. I don't think anybody's doing the Futurama head in a jar thing. But again, there are patents for nearly everything. So just because you see a patent that seems like it could be used to control the weather, remember the patent being shown in this situation wouldn't even cover just a small area. Again, you could even look at a patent for a smoke grenade and probably realize, oh, the government might be using this to control the weather. But again, the rash of conspiracies don't stop. People who look at videos like the one I showed you just a while back in Florida with the crazy spores, some people even say these could possibly be alien spores out there. Again,
true.
no actual proof.
99 likes, thank God. I wish that I was more conspiratorial because I feel like my life would be a lot more fun. Like if I thought that like the government was coming for me at all times, I was being gang stalked by the FBI and some kind of new agency, if I thought a transformer lived in my house, if I thought that, like, I just feel like the world would be a lot more entertaining if I believed in a lot more conspiracies. I would enjoy life more. There would be like something to fight for. I'd feel like I live inside of a movie. I feel like that'd be really cool. I would enjoy that quite a bit.
Whatsoever provided. So basically, this whole situation, this weather phenomenon that has happened at the end of last year, has effectively taken a life of its own. And there's a reason for that. Like I said earlier into this, there's a serious distrust of the government. But one actual thing that people did bring up, which was absolutely wild, that I didn't know about until I was researching this video or looking into this even deeper, was something known as Operation Sea Spray. Now, Operation Sea Spray is, according to this Wikipedia article right here, was a 1950 U.S. Navy sea.
I feel like most conspiracy theorists are a mix of bored and dumb. I mean, there's some level of it that's okay, because the thing with conspiracies, right, is there's like a few different camps of people that exist with the conspiracy conversation, okay? There's the camp of people that say they use conspiracy theorists almost like a slur, right? It's like a derogatory term. It's like these people are crazy. You associate conspiracy theories, in general with like Alex Jones exclusively, right? Stuff like that. And then you have the guys that are like, well, conspiracy theorist actually is a slur to keep us down, because conspiracy theorists are the ones really getting to the bottom of this and thinking outside of the box. And then you have people kind of in the middle who are like, I can kind of appreciate some of them. Some of them are really. I feel like the way to think about it is that the majority of conspiracy theories are generally dumb because the people who are coming up with them are not making educated decisions, right? Like with anything. The majority of people in this world are not coming to crazy conclusions about, the deep state and, all of that kind of thing, right? They're just kind of talking out of their ass if they are talking about that stuff at all. But for the 0.1% that are true, they are so fascinating and interesting. Like a few years ago, who could have ever imagined, okay, as far as like mainstream people, because people did talk about this stuff, like Alex Jones talked about conspiracies like this, but it wasn't a giant conversation at the time. How crazy is it that it's now a universally accepted fact that there was a island owned by a wealthy New York financier named Jeffrey Epstein that multiple future U.S. presidents and current presidents, I think at the time, went to? Like, who could dream that up that was actually true? You know what I mean? It is like, it's such a big commonly accepted fact that it's a meme at this point. It was such a big meme. People go, I remember there was this one like speech that Ben Shapiro had. Somebody walked up to him and was like, here's what I think. Also, Jeffrey Epstein did not kill himself. And then Ben was like, I have to admit, that is quite a funny meme. That is probably one of the funniest memes I've ever heard. And the whole crowd was like, oh. But, I mean, seriously. I miss old conspiracy nuts when it was just aliens and government interference, not Jews and high technology with even more fear-mongering and lunacy. Conspiracies are good to a certain extent. Existential Studios, I feel like you're having a recency bias here. I don't know if you know anything about what happened in, like, post-Weimar Germany. I don't know if you know anything about what happened there, but there was a lot of conversations about the Jews going on at that time, and that was before a lot of the alien conversation.
Secret biological warfare experiment. So biological warfare, as far as my understanding, is warfare that is never supposed to be allowed, even between countries at war. Like, it's one of the rules of war, right? Like one of the Geneva Conventions. But basically what they said was Serratia marcescens and Bacillus globigii bacteria was sprayed over the San Francisco Bay Area in California. And they were doing this to determine how vulnerable a city like San Francisco, which is a pretty big city in the United States, a pretty big hub, very serious stuff happens over there, obviously, huge point, may be susceptible to a bioweapon attack. So in this situation, apparently it killed at least one American and sickened at least 10 more. And the thing is, this actually isn't even a conspiracy, ladies and gentlemen. Again, this is something the United States actually did to its own people. And there isn't a joke about it. This is from the Smithsonian Magazine, where they talked about the U.S. releasing a bioweapon in San Francisco. So when the government does shit like this, it sparks a lot of people to genuinely be distrustful of the government.
And this is what I was saying with the conspiracy theories, right? 99.9% of them are just, but once in a while you get one that, like, the crazy guy that's holding like the end is near sign is like holding it up, literally like the Alex Jones meme. He's screaming at the top of his lungs about gay frogs. And then, like, he might just be right. Like, sometimes he might just be right once in a while. Now, I don't know if he's right because he made an educated guess or because he threw so many different things at the wall and a few of them happened to stick and people don't remember the hours and hours of other he said. But, once in a while it is right. Tom, did you watch any of season 3 of Fish Tank? The gay black schizo guy was my favorite personally. I'm going to be honest, I haven't even seen 1 second of Fish Tank season 3. I just haven't really been tapped in on that side of things lately, but I'm sure it was entertaining. Are you talking about Bert? Is that his name? The jar I put $1 in every time Alex Jones is right is getting full. He's probably been right like 2% of the time, to be honest, but W Riz, I guess.
Like even somebody like me that is looking at this is like clearly the weather being the weather. When I read stuff like this and I correlate this to the, individuals who around the country, sometimes even the world, have said they feel sick. They smell something burning. Maybe it is just mass hysteria, but when you read stuff like this and you read the history of at least the United States operating on its own soil, this is where government distrust basically correlates with wild conspiratorial thinking like this. Now, at the time, even the US military believed that what they were releasing was supposed to be harmless to human beings, and basically based on the monitoring equipment at 43 locations, they actually had confirmed that San Francisco received enough of a dose for nearly all the city's 800,000 residents at the time to inhale 5,000 of the particles. Now, in the illnesses section for this, and when people looked into it, right, 11 residents checked in to Stanford Hospital near SF with...
I feel like I would like to see Wendigoon do a really good deep dive video about this, if there is enough to really talk about it in like a super long video. But this is one of those things that I feel like Wendigoon would do a really good job at covering for like an hour straight. I think this would probably be really good.
With very rare, serious urinary tract infections. And while 10 recovered, one individual, Edward Nevin, who had actually received a prostate surgery, died 3 weeks later from a heart valve infection. So incredibly tragic. And when you look further into this too, right, cases of pneumonia in San Francisco increased after Serratia marescens was released. Though a causal relation has not been conclusively established, the bacterium was also combined with fennel and an anthrax simulant and sprayed across South Dorset by U.S.
What the f*** is fennel? I'm not talking about the plant. Fennel is a chemical compound with a variety of uses, including as a disinfectant in manufacturing and in medicinal preparations. It's an aromatic or organic compound. What is the makeup? Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. Interesting. It's a white crystalline solid that is volatile. It is mildly acidic and requires careful handling due to its propensity to cause chemical burns. Although similar to alcohols, phenols have unique distinguishing properties. So apparently, according to this Wikipedia article, the government released this into the atmosphere. They released phenol and anthrax. What the
U.S. and UK military scientists as part of the DICE trials that ran from 71 to 75. However, there was no evidence that the Army had alerted health authorities before it blanketed the region with bacteria. Doctors later wondered whether the experiment might be responsible.
Why am I paying taxes? So they can make this. That's why we love America, boys and girls.
For heart valve infections around the same time, as well as serious infections seen amongst intravenous drug users in the 60s and the 70s. So there was some serious concerns, obviously, and when the U.S. military has done stuff like this without properly relaying it, it obviously breeds distrust into people. And that distrust is what caused people to look at things like this massive international fog case as...
I will say the annoying thing about it is, I feel like I understand why people have this inherent distrust of the federal government, and there are a lot of reasons why, in a lot of cases, why you shouldn't necessarily trust the federal government. But I also feel like it's kind of getting annoying right now, especially with a lot of Zoomers, because you should never 100% trust anything any percent of the time. The United States is a massive country. The government has thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands even of employees that make up different, branches of government at a federal, at a state level, in terms of postal workers, the military, the police, administrative people, bureaucrats. There's so many different people. And I feel like these few cases being so widely publicized, these conspiracy cases that happen to be, that are actually right, I am glad that they're publicized, and I like that, right? With, Wendigo making videos about the JFK thing and his theories, I think that is good. But I feel like the problem is that it breeds this general distrust of the entire government, which is very annoying. Because the government, at the end of the day, is made up of people. They are still human beings. And much like every human being, they are fallible. They are not without sin. They are capable of great evil and great good. And so, the annoying part is, these few cases, which are true and are worthy of criticism, and frankly, with things like the JFK thing, which I'm kind of buying into in the case of, what I've read and heard about it, okay? I'm not the most educated guy in the world, but what I've read and heard about it does seem to be true. There are a lot of, conspiracies around it, and I'm glad people talk about it. But the annoying thing about it is it has caused this general distrust of all forms of government and all institutions. And I find that a little bit annoying.
Something even deeper than what it actually could be. And the thing about these conspiracies is usually when they get, brought up as conspiracies back in the 50s in this case, people tend to laugh it off and say you're a psychopath. Until, of course, down the road, it ends up coming out in a U.S. Senate subcommittee, with actual hearings where they disclose the...
Well, who's to blame for that? You say that, Luke, with an N, but, once again, what you the response you want me to give is the government. But the government is not a person. The government is made up of tens of thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people that work for the federal government and collectively make up the institutions and bureaucracy. The government is not like a person. There's small sectors and subsets of the government that have done horrible things, but it's not the entire government, and that's why I just find it annoying. Just because you're base and I like your humor, oh, thanks for the dono, appreciate it.
The existence of these tests, and again, it breeds some validity into the conspiracy theorists at that time. But again, this is more about a story of government distrust breeding the actual conspiracies we're seeing now. Do I genuinely believe that this foggy front that has been occurring for the last couple days is responsible by the US military? In my opinion, I don't think so. But reading stuff like this, I genuinely can see why conspiracy theorists fall into the camp that they do. And it's why I don't necessarily go out of my way to make fun of people, especially with things like this. I'll make fun of somebody with flat earth stuff, and even this to a reasonable extent. But when it comes to people genuinely feeling sick and correlating it to stuff like this, obviously, it's the unethical nature of U.S. Non-consensual tests, by the way, that cause this level of belief. Now, obviously, there's people who are absolutely trying to be the scientists in this situation and to get some answers. So this one doctor, I don't know if they are a doctor, but, they said they're a doctor, they're verified. I'm calling on my scientist colleagues for help. This was taken just now in Southwest Florida. This is not fog. There isn't moisture. Again, I have no way to confirm this. I'm not there. Collections are needed. Lab personnel, we need you. From GC, mass spec to sequencing labs. And hopefully maybe something comes out of it. I have no issue with people who do their own research and people who use the scientific method to actually confirm if things are good or bad. But yeah, the fog conspiracy is wild to witness, okay? Do I think that there is a crazy conspiracy and the government is trying to poison people? I don't really think it is that way. From everyone that I've talked to and all the research.
It could be the case. It's unlikely, as with most conspiracies, but it could be the case. And if it is, we won't find out for 50 years. But you never know. You never know, dude.
Research I've done, it really is just the weather, okay? So don't be too freaked out by the fog, ladies and gentlemen. Don't fall for the conspiracy.
Wow, Mudahar's paid off by big fog, dude. Joe Biden himself paid Mudahar off to say that. That's kind of disgusting that he would take that money. Does he really need it at this point? Come on, guys.
Just relax, okay? The government is scary, but the weather is also a little unpredictable. And it's still such a... Mother Nature is still such a strong beast that there is really no government out there that has the technology to bend it to its beck and call. So for now, I really do think that you are pretty safe. But generally speaking, if you are somebody that does feel that this weather is affecting you, then maybe it is time that you should probably wear a mask or maybe stay inside for a couple days if you can, and try avoiding it for now. But ladies and gentlemen...
Yeah, I'm still shocked at that one video of that guy who was like, I'm outside and it's really foggy right now and it kind of tastes like chemicals or something burning in the air. How's it going, guys? I'm on TikTok right now. It's like, dude, go the f inside. Why are you outside? Go back inside. You're going to get cancer. The problem is it's very cool and interesting to be anti-establishment. I think these topics can be dealt with rationally. People go too far because it's generally cool. Yeah, once again, I mean, like I said, people feel like they're a part of a big epic narrative. It is good to criticize establishment. I think that 1000% there's a lot of bad stuff that happens in establishment, especially when, power goes unchecked, which is why, this country ideally was founded on the principle of checks and balances, right? Of power being able to check other power so that, no one guy is the king, right? That's why we left England in the first place. But I definitely think that, a lot of people in my generation are so anti-establishment that it is just cringe, because it's like being anti-establishment for the sake of it, which in fairness, every generation has had this to an extent. The baby boomers had it with the hippie era. My generation, it's, I don't know, ACAB, right? The amount of white girls I've seen with ACAB stickers on their Jeep makes me want to blow my brains out.
That was the story of the weird fog going on. So yeah, it's a topic that really interested me. I wanted to really share it with you. I know that some of you have probably seen this floating around. I've definitely seen a lot of talks about political shit going. People are talking about crazy stuff nowadays. There's cyber trucks blowing up in front of Las Vegas. Trump, the Trump Tower in Vegas. Wild. Okay, there's crazy stuff happening all over. But yeah, I wanted to bring this up because, goddamn, the fog conspiracy was weird. But I really do think it is just that. It is just the weather. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I am. I don't know. But I do like to have a discussion about this topic. But I also like to be rational and scientific about this as well, too. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. I am out.
Happens. It's foggy in Kansas, and I had no idea this is a thing. Maybe it's because I'm not on Twitter. I feel like nothing ever happens. That might be it. You know, things seem fun and crazy, but then you turn your phone off and you realize that nothing ever happens. You're on Twitter, you feel like everything's happening. You get off Twitter, nothing's happening. Consistently, that's how it is. Nothing ever happens, dude. Nothing ever happens. Do you know Mahatma Gandhi? Do I know him personally? Yes. That being said, chat, we got through the fog conspiracy.